This is the beginning of fitting the convertible collar blouse. Because I used the same sloper as the red top that I made for Morgan, the shoulders are still a little bit high. I will pin these, and because both tops reflect that, I will go back and change the sloper. It's okay at the neck, but from the neck out, I want it to come up about 3/4 of an inch total. So that's 3/8 of an inch at the very edge on either side. Now what I see is this dart has come really too close to the apex. It needs to be taken back about an inch. So I'm going to open up that dart and pin it carefully. See there? It's already better. So I will make the tip of the dart come to, actually I think I'm going to pull it back a little bit further. Pull this shoulder up just a little bit more. There, I like that. And then you see these drag lines. I think what I'm going to do is make the dart a little scooped on the bottom, which I'll show you at the table. So that would mean pulling the bottom up a little bit more to reach to the top of the sewing line of the dart. That's going to be nice. Now, I will sew it so that this bubble is not there. It's a little hard to pin it much better, but I'll be able to sew it such. The waist is way too big in here. So we're going to scoop that in a little bit. There's the smallest part of her waist. Darn. I'm taking the front and the back end equally here. Now, I think we're going to have slits in this shirt, so I'm going to open up the bottom a little bit. And I am going to pin both sides. I think in this one it's more important to do so. Now I'm checking under the arm. Yeah, there's nice, right under the arm, there's plenty of room. So I'm going to take it up the torso, but make sure that right under the arm it's not too loose. I'm going to take it back to 0, so I'm not disturbing anything right under the arm, but from there down to the waist I'm taking it in. All right, good. You see all this under the breast, this extra fabric. I want to shape these darts a little bit more. I'm going to, instead of having a straight line, I'm going to cup them out. That will take the fabric up and show her shape under here. See there how it's shaping? And this one I'll take in just a little bit. This one I'll bring the dart up a little bit. It's a little bit short. There you go. Again, when I take it to the table and true it up, it will help get rid of a few of the drag lines. Now this dart I'll make the same length, of course, and for now I will just pull up the fabric the same as the other side. This is the way to take something that fits rather frumpy to an elegant fit that shows the lovely body underneath. Okay, I can see that the armhole is too far across here. We're going to button this right to here. So we're getting a true read of the opening. So now I'm going to redraw this armhole. I think it's absolutely fine here, but it needs to come in. So this is my seam right there, 1/2 inch for the armhole. The underneath length or drop under the arm seems to be fine. So there's my new armhole. Let's look at the back. Same thing right here. This is good. Now I have to scoop this out a little bit more and then I'll bring it back in. Okay. Now let's take a look at the back while we're back here. I'm going to open up the sides because we're going to have slits, which will be very nice, and give her a certain freedom when she walks so that there's nothing binding or tight, and yet it will look like a really trim blouse. So I'm going to open up the sides a little bit. There. And what I'm going to do is turn the hem under. I had allowed 2 inches for the hem. So let's turn that under, take a look, see what that looks like. Again, if you put all your markings on the muslin, it's easier to fit. You see, that's a really beautiful fit for her. So I'll pin this up. And I know I have 2 darts in the front. I think rather than have 1 large one in the back, I'd rather put 2. The more vertical lines you have, the more trimming and elegant it looks. It really shows the shape of the body and isn't as extreme an intake. So what I'll do is just open this dart up. And then I'll repin it, but only about half of the intake at the waist, and move some of it over. I think I will, yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, about 1.5 inches to the side, and that will help me shape in this area as well. So I'm literally taking 1/2 of the amount of dartage at the waist, then tapering it back to 0. Maybe make them a little bit shorter since I'll be doing 2. Yep, I think that's good right there. Okay, moving over approximately 1.5 inches. And you see, by pinching this in, I'm able to shape this area. Yeah, that's great. Get rid of all this. put your arm out just a fraction? Thank you. What I see is this could be taken away from under the arm, so I'm going to take the back in under the arm area, but not the front. There it is. And smooth that down to about the waist. When I do the pattern work corrections at the table, what I'm doing will be more obvious. But you see now, you can see this lovely shape, whereas before you only saw the fabric and the kind of the air between. Okay, turn this way again, please. I want to turn up the front, and what I'm going to do is turn the hem up as marked. Thank you. Perfect. But you see, what happens is because a woman has a breast area, it lifts the front. So I need to drop the hemline right here in the front up to about 2/3 across to allow for that breast area to pick that fabric up. So in other words, the pattern will have a slight curve that comes down, and it will be a little bit longer here. Probably by about 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch. I'll do that straight across, at least to the edge of the second dart. And then blend it back up to the side seam. Okay, now let's take a look at this collar. I had already discussed with Morgan the shape of the collar, and she would really like it to be a little smaller here and a different angle. So this is a convertible collar, as you know from the patterning. There's a fold here, not a seam. So to do that, what I'm going to do is open the collar up. It's basted on by hand, and instead of taking it out, taking away from the outside, I'm going to re-angle this curve to be what I would like it to be. So from the shoulder, I'm going to re-angle it down to be about 1.5 inches at the most. There. Yeah, and also get rid of that angle. We're going to make it more like, it's a little more uplifting to pull it up rather than have it pointing down. So we're going to do it more like this. There. All right, now I'm going to scoop a little bit of this away with scissors and set the sleeve on and see how the sleeve fits. Actually, I think what I'll do, instead of cutting it, I'll just slash it to the seam so it releases the tension. The seam is the new red line. And I think in the back I have just a little bit that's the same, not much. You know, again, keeping my hand under the scissors so I don't poke the model with the scissors. You have to be really careful when you're pinning and using scissors around models. All right, so, okay, here is my right sleeve. I'll get you to turn back for me. Just really want to check and see what this will look like. This does have a cuff, so I'm going to turn the cuff up. Right, okay. Bicep. Put your arm slightly down. I can see it's a little bit tight in the elbow area, so I'm going to let the elbow out. But first, I think I will shift it a little bit. And pin it to see what it will basically look like. We'll have one more fitting with this. After I transfer all the markings to the other side and make the corrections, I'll sew it all together. We'll have a final fit before I cut the fashion fabric. Get you to turn for me. A little bit more. There you go. When an armhole is changed a lot, you want to remeasure it and compare it to the sleeve measurements to make sure that you are cutting the correct shape and size. I think this sleeve is going to be just fine. I won't know for sure until it's absolutely sewn in. It does seem a little bit snug right in this area, and certainly the elbow is, I discovered. So I had a 3/4 inch seam allowance in it. I'm going to let that out. Since I basted with a very lightweight cotton thread, it's easy to take out. Sometimes it's better just to hand baste things together. Now, certainly that gives you a lot more space here. And how's the elbow now? Better? You need a little bit more? Or is
a little bit more.
A little bit more? Okay, I'll give another 1/2 inch at the elbow. But the overall look of this sleeve is good. And it will have a little bit of a slit. And the slit is going to follow the grain line, which is basically almost from the shoulder and right down the top of the arm. So it'll be right here, and that will look really nice. So let me take a final look. I think this is quite lovely. I think the the slits on the side, I want to put a mark on that. Let me get you to turn to the front. I'm going to have the slit come to here. Her waist is up here, so this slit down here will still allow her to tuck the blouse in if she wants to. But this will be my slit line. It'll give her a lot of comfort and just make it much more fun to wear. She won't feel like anything's tight. And let's take a look again one more time at the back, at this one side of the back. By having the two darts, you have a better ability to fit this side and get rid of this in the fabric and to show her shape better. Now, this is the waistline that goes parallel to the floor, but it's high. You can see a woman's waist usually goes down and it's very small below the actual waistline. So we'll address that when we get into skirts. So this is where we'll stop. I'll make all the corrections to the pattern, cut any excess off of this and sew it together, and we'll have a final fit before I cut the fashion fabric.